You keep rolling here. That's good. Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
Good
to see you. I'm
to
good.
see you.
I'm embarking on my wet adventure. Let's see if it works. I have about 10 minutes to get home, to get to work, so we'll see. Catch you later. What's that?
Thank you for sharing your inspiration.
Oh, of course. Let's just see how waterproof that GoPro camera actually is. Very exciting. They say there's no wrong weather, there's only the wrong clothing. And I totally agree with that. This is a new jacket I'm trying out. I think it's for the second time this year that I get the pleasure. I think it's the first time I'm cycling in the rain with it to work, so I haven't done that before. That's going to be exciting too. I've had an extremely productive and inspiring morning, and I thought I'm going to share that with you. First of all, big news is that yesterday, on a whim, I've decided, inspired by my fantastic new Logitech mouse, I've decided that I want the same kind of functionality and the same feel for a new keyboard. So I've been using a dual screen setup on my desk, and it's a kind of an extraordinary dual screen setup because it's on the left is a PC, on the right is a Mac, and they're two separate computers. So of course you need two keyboards for that, and you also need two mice to make that, to individually work with either one of them. And then networked, and also I can access files, but really you do something on one PC, you have to you can't really move the mouse across to the other monitor, because it's not just another monitor, it's a completely different system. And the friendly folks at Logitech have come up with a solution that lets one mouse connect itself to up to three completely different displays, up to individual systems. That's very cool. And although there is a little bit of delay, like half a second or so when you move the mouse across, it does switch like seamlessly. And it is just so fantastic. And I thought, hey, I could really declutter and clear up my desk if I had the same functionality for my keyboard, or for a keyboard of that kind. And I've been looking around, and Logitech have of course implemented that. Very exciting stuff, very expensive too. And I thought, you know what, this is going to give me so much more space on my desktop. I will totally do that, and ordered yesterday a Logitech Craft keyboard, an amazing device that'll also connect both to my Windows PC and my Mac, and it will just follow wherever the mouse is. So if I drag the mouse from Windows over to Mac, the keyboard talks to the Mac. If I switch it over back to Windows, it'll talk to the Windows computer. Awesome stuff. So get two keyboards away from my computer, from my desk, reduce it into one. It's going to make my working life so much more comfortable and exciting. And I've ordered it yesterday, was supposed to be delivered literally today. And guess what happened 10 minutes ago? UPS said, we couldn't get it delivered, I was no one home. I think there were two of us home. You guys were just too freaking lazy to get your bum out of the dark brown van and walk through the rain the 1.5 yards from the street to my house. Or you didn't quite figure out how to ring the freaking doorbell. I don't know. That is something that has just happened, and literally just 10 minutes ago, and I'm a little bit irate about that. Because, that keyboard could be with me. I guess now it'll be in the UPS warehouse for another day, which is crazy because, hey, doesn't matter. I've got 2 days off tomorrow and on Saturday, and I'm hoping to put it to good use. I'm really excited about that. Get a new desk input device working. I always like new input devices and see what it's like. Of course, if it sucks, it goes straight back to Amazon. $179.99 plus tax for a keyboard. I've never spent more than $20 for a keyboard in my life. They give me this little hat here that's, rain protected, but of course it also means I'm severely vision impaired. I've got like a window this small, and that's what I'm thinking. Absolutely crazy. So, but back to that inspiring, exciting morning that I've already had. So I got up at 7 and finished off an animation, and I can talk about it here because this video is probably going to go live once the animation has premiered, and it has to do with a voice sample that Patrick sent me about a week ago on Subnautica, and it's a character, I don't even know who that is, but it's the Optimus Prime character, and he was imitating that voice, and we convinced him to do us a little intro for the Subnautica stream, and I was inspired by that, and I thought, yeah, just the voice sample isn't going to be as cool as making an animation about it. So I've done that yesterday, and I've used, for the first time in my life, I was fairly late in the afternoon actually, I've used or put to good use Mimic for Carrara. The Mimic is this lip syncing tool that DAS have brought out many years ago. I think Mimic for Carrara is about 12 years old now, 10, 12 years old. And before that there were several other iterations, one standalone version of Mimic, and that was a little tool that was along the lines of Victoria 1 and 2 back in those days. And they also have one that's available for DAS Studio for the current version, which is called Mimic Live. And of course there's also the regular lip sync tool, which comes free with DAS Studio, but that's only available in the 32-bit version of DAS Studio. So you won't find it if you have the 64-bit version. And it's exciting. So in Carrara it works extremely well and really easy to do. The magic to finding it, and I think I'm going to make a video on how to use that, the magic to using it properly is to find something called a DMC file. I don't know what that stands for, probably DAS Mimic configuration file or whatnot. And that is something that's character specific. And this is a file that needs to be loaded and applied, and then an audio file in conjunction with a text file, optional text file, can then be translated into phonemes, phenomes, whatever they're called, phonemes I believe, something to do with mouth expression. So O is a phoneme, A is a phoneme, and so forth. And when the software detects that, it will shape the mouth of the figure accordingly. But Mimic goes a step further and also implements, this is like literally a foot high water here on the road. Shame I can't show you this, but my shorts are completely soaked. I feel like I'm on the beach, which I am. How interesting. So the Mimic goes a little step further. So just making the mouth move wouldn't be enough for a realistic animation out of the box. You also have head gestures like this, we tend to do this, or things like that, eye blinks that are being automatically applied. A very, very cool way of very cool way. It's a crazy guy just crossing the road from me in a bike, crazy, even though he had a red. Terrible. So yes, it does that also, and once you've applied that, it works like 90%, 95% of it is literally works straight out of the box, depending on the quality of the audio file, and if you've typed in text that the software can use to analyze this stuff, and it works just so well. So there was only a small tweak that I had to apply this morning, and now I have the Genesis 1 troll with Patrick's voice underneath it saying, "I am Optimus Prime." So it'll be very exciting as an opener to the Subnautica stream. So I'm just now rendering the other thing that he sent, which is the "I get you next time, Jay," and that'll be the closer for the stream. So very cool. I feel very productive about that. Worked out something else, and it's just it works. It looks really nice, and I'm very happy about that. So I've played around with that this morning. I've also made another video this morning, which I thought was exciting. I think I've just taken the wrong turn, which is this one turn too early. What a shame. That means I have to go cross country in the park. I didn't want to do precisely that on a wet day like today. Yeah. So I've made a little video this morning in response to a viewer question about morphs on DAS characters. Once you've made a morph, what do you do then? How do you save the thing? And once you've saved it, how do you share it with others? And I thought, yeah, that's a really nice idea for a little quick video. So I've implemented that. I'm nearly done finished editing, about 80%. So that all happened this morning on a rather spontaneous note. That wasn't planned. And I thought, I always like that when I get things done before I have to head to work. And today's a good day, by the way, because I've I've decided to work 7 hours the other day, but the good thing is that today I can only work. I can get away with 5 hours, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, this is where I'm gonna have to go cross country. Crazy. Yeah, so excuse the relatively shaky and wet footage today. So that was one thing, but while all that was doing its thing on 3 HP Z600 and 800 computers together, my god, I feel like I'm a BMX guy here. Crazy. This is like a half a foot of water. Could do with a drainage system here at Flamingo Park. So anyway, maybe that's what they're putting in. I have no idea. So a really inspiring, interesting discussion has happened on the Discord server that we have, and it is about rigging. Yesterday Christina and I and Steve had a little chat about rigging, and if I could just see, there. And we decided, hey, we know nothing about rigging, and rigging is an integral part of this whole thing. And it's funny that in parallel to this, I'm having a discussion with Dave Davis from France, and he wants to find out how rigging in DAW Studio works. And we've been watching this Dark Edge tutorial, which was, not for the faint-hearted, not in regards to the technical aspects that he brings across, but more about the presentation of that. My god, we do have some bad presenters that have asked us to pay money for tutorials on the DAW Store. It's quite crazy. So anyway, he drinks beer, belches, sits in his underwear, gets kind of more drunk as the tutorial carries on, and you think, yeah, okay, great. So you're a content creator? That's awesome stuff. Anyway, so we've watched that, and that gave us some insights into rigging in DAW Studio, which is a needlessly complex process. It doesn't have to be that complicated, seriously. I know very little about rigging, but the way DAS implements it is absolutely terrible. So we're talking about rigging. I know nothing about rigging. And Christina said, hey, I know very little about rigging either, and I'd love to learn. So Steve says, hey, I've been doing rigging in Maya. I know how to do it in Blender. And we're like, oh my god, Steve, press the record button already. We need to know this stuff. And so a very inspiring discussion started this morning that led to another separate channel on our Discord server, which is about rigging. And we're all really excited to see what Steve's going to come up with next. And to encourage him on this path, I took literally 10 minutes and created a little title sequence, rigging with Backdoor 3D, with a little Australian inspired music underneath it. So I liked it, Steve loved it. That's just what community work is all about. I'm really excited of how we can take that to the next step. So I think the next one, in a few days, we're going to do this voice chat trial on Discord, see how that works, and maybe do a bit of brainstorming as to how should the series progress, and literally hammer this out. And if this collaborative type of work works well, which I can imagine it does, because we seem to be all on a very similar level there in regards to where we want to go with this, I think we're just kind of on the same wavelength. I think that's the expression I'm looking for. I'd love to try this out for the next installment of the DAS Studio series. So that's something I keep thinking about. I want to finish it this year, of course. This year's closing in. I mean, it's the 1st of August already. Can you believe it? That's just unbelievable. Where's 2019 gone? It's only just started. Unbelievable. So, yes, if this collaborative type of work works, the brainstorming aspect of it, I would love to hammer out a plan of how to produce the next DAS Studio series, including funding. I mean, this is something that I haven't even mentioned on Discord, but I did think about it, that this is a way that perhaps, Steve, you could present this on your Patreon page, that could become one of the main focal points of your Patreon campaign. So make the videos and make them available to the public, definitely. That's a great idea. I love that. But also, I don't know, find some way of doing early access or personal tutoring around that Patreon project. That might be a nice, interesting perk to find there. Because I'm just thinking out loud, because you mentioned that you did this you've only just finalized the site, and sometimes it's difficult to come up with perks and define yourself as well. What am I actually doing? I need a major rewrite on my Patreon page too, because when that started, what are you doing, man? This is just crazy. Yeah, you shouldn't be going there, should you? Yeah, now you're holding up the traffic. That's terrible. I'm turning into a car driver. Now I know why they're all muttering to themselves. UPS van. Whoops, I think I might have been read there. Crazy. Anyway, so yes, that's just, you know, coming out of my brain just now. But hey, inspiring morning. I'm still alive. That's good. Survived the traffic, survived the rain. But let's keep going. Let's see what else we can do before 2019 is over. Oh yes, so brainstorming. Yes, sorry, I totally forgot about that. Brainstorming. I'd love to do this when I start the series about characters in Das Studio, because I'd like to do another one once this one is over and displays the basic, teaches people the basics. But I'd also like to delve much more into characters, like what are morphs and what do we do with them, and how do we apply them, and the whole clothing thing. That's not something I've mentioned yet in the series, and I'd like to do that, but it's going to be another series altogether, I think, because it's just a different topic, and starting with the generations of figures that we have and so forth. But yes, so that is something I'd like to hammer out as well as a brainstorm, and see what would be beneficial to a larger audience. There we go. That's it from me. I'll see if I can get into the dry, if I can make it across this road.